the second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, get your tickets now. My family, what is popping with you? We're here to talk about Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, and to keep him or dump him. Surprise! I know you guys thought I was going to come with Julius Randle or Miles McBride, Cam Reddish, and Quentin Grimes. But you know what? I decided to go in another direction. I wanted to have some fresh thoughts in my mind, man. So I got Tony Crow here with me. I think I might go ahead and put the link in the chat a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So we can get some fresh takes, some fresh voices out there. But anyway, Tony, what's poppin' with you, brother? How you feeling?
What's good, Sam? This is the end of the triple header for me. So salute. You know, I made it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Ronald Cleveland, my guy. Man. It's been a minute. When Sim drops the link, if you could bless us with your presence, you know what I mean? It would be my honor, my pleasure, man. Miss you out there. Salute. For real.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you get those draft party tickets. All right. The link is in the description of the video. I'm also going to drop it into the chat. I definitely want to see you there. Tony wants to see you there. We all want to see you there, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a live podcast. We got a live DJ Shuttle is in the building. It's going to be dope. Then we got a live video shoot. You know what I mean? That's going to be dope. We got all kinds of live games. We're going to be playing a basketball game, all of that. Of course, we're watching the draft, and we're going to talk about the draft and everything. So please make sure you get them tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Get those tickets. And anything you want to say about that before we get going?
I do. You know, I think we're going to be there. We might be there one extra day. You know, we're thinking about it. So if you guys, you know, get that extra room day, you know what I mean? You can enjoy the casinos. I think I'm gonna throw a birthday party for my daughter too while we out there. So, you know, if y'all out there, y'all invited.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know what I mean? My internet is kind of choppy here at the hotel. You know what I mean? So, you know, if you know, we go in and out or something like that, it's because of the internet that's here. You know what I mean? Which is also one of the reasons why I didn't want to get into the Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish and Julius Randle one either until I get my, you know, I can get with some strong internet. You know what I mean? Because I don't want those to go. I want those to be untouched. You know what I mean? But anyway, let's go ahead and get into this conversation. I want to talk about Leon Rose first. All right. Because I mean, obviously the two relate to one another, right? Leon Rose creates the roster. Tom Thibodeau's job is to coach the roster. So they directly relate to one another. You know what I mean? If Leon Rose brings in a really, really good roster, it's going to give Tom Thibodeau a much better chance to succeed. If he doesn't bring in a really, really good roster and it's unbalanced as it is, then Tom Thibodeau has, you know, a harder chance or less of a chance to succeed. So I want to start with Leon Rose. He's been the Knicks. He's been the president for, I don't know, how long has he been the president? 3 years now?
I think it's like two and a half. You know what I mean?
2.5 years.
Yeah,
okay.
At the end of the season, so it's either 2.5 or 3.5. You know what I mean?
Right.
And did he sign Randle? Because that'll be the answer right there.
No, he did not. He didn't sign Randle. He didn't sign Randle. Scott Perry and what's his name signed Randle. Right.
Yeah, so
he didn't sign Randle. Yeah. Okay, 2.5 seasons Leon Rose has been here. And since he's been here, what has he done? He's had some decent drafts, right? Obviously, he drafted Obi Toppin. He drafted Emmanuel Quickley. From the way that Obi Toppin played at the end of the season and what we've gotten from Emmanuel Quickley so far, seems like those two draft picks could work out. In the next draft, he drafts Quentin Grimes, Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, right? Uh, we all expect Quentin Grimes to be a rotation player for the New York Knicks. I don't think we're all sure about Deuce McBride and Jericho Sims. Some people think that he can replace Mitch. I still think that Jericho Sims, I think he can be a good player in the NBA. I still think he has a lot to learn in the ways to go, and I don't think he has the upside as Mitchell Robinson. But for all intents and purposes, for such a low draft pick, second round pick, he's a good pick, right? So I guess they've done well in the draft. I see someone say, Leon Rose should have drafted Tyrese Halliburton. You can say that. Uh, you, you can say that. And Tyrese Halliburton was definitely a guy that I liked coming out of the draft. That's that year. I also said that if Obi was there at 8, I'm taking Obi. So, you know what I mean? So I think he's done a decent job. Him and the front office have done a decent job in the draft. Free agency's been different. Who did he sign the first year that he was here over that summer?
Well, if it wasn't
Alec Burks.
Yeah, Alec Burks, who we had Derrick Rose. Well,
he traded for Derrick Rose
and then signed him.
But that first summer, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, Nerlens Noel. Everybody that came back. So Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks. Oh, that's it, right? Because Bullock didn't come back.
What about Taj? Taj Gibson.
Taj was.
He wasn't. He wasn't. I don't think he was here.
But he was here twice, right? It was 2 consecutive seasons.
Yeah, so last year and this year.
Okay, so yep.
Right. So he signed Burks, Noel, and Taj.
Yeah, re-signed Rose. Yep.
And then, well, that was the first season, the first summer, right? Burks, Noel, and Taj. I think that was the first summer. And then when the season started, he made the trade for Derrick Rose, which was really, really good. Right? DSJ in the second round draft picks. Matter of fact, I think they brought back a second round draft pick too or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but that was mid-season.
Mid-season. That's what I mean. Mid-season. Yeah. He made that trade for Derrick Rose mid-season. And then during this offseason, re-signed Derrick Rose, re-signed Nerlens Noel, re-signed Taj, re-signed Burks, signed Kemba Walker, signed Evan Fournier.
Yeah.
Right. So this is where the Knicks are right now. And then for the trade deadline,
also signed Randall on an extension.
Re-signed Randall on an extension, right? And then over the trade deadline, traded for Cam Reddish.
Yes.
Okay. And that trade for Cam Reddish, I mean, look, that he basically took a 21st pick, right? Turned that 21st pick into Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish. Right? Because he traded down.
Mm-hmm.
And because the Charlotte Hornets wanted to trade, wanted that pick or 19th pick, whatever it was, 21st, 19, I don't know. I think it was the 19th pick because the 19th. Hornets wanted that pick.
Mm-hmm.
They traded a first round draft pick, future first round draft pick. So they got that pick. The Knicks ended up having the 25th pick, right? And they got Quentin Grimes. And then they still had Charlotte's first round pick. And they used that first round pick to make the trade for Cam Reddish. Right. So, that ends up really being a savvy move.
And Sam, I was waiting for you to be done because when you was talking about, what they done, I was going to say with the drafts, I was going to say also think about the manner in which they did them. So continue. You know what I mean? Because they
Yeah, I mean, that ends up really being a savvy move. Taking that 19th pick, turning it into Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish. You gave away Kevin Knox, right? But that's a player that was not drafted under Leon Rose, and moved it along and brought back a player that I think a lot of people like. You see, Pudge Nice says Cam, will be T Mac. We'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see how that goes and how that happens. But I don't know. How do you assess it? How do you assess what he's done so far? And do you
I,
want to keep him?
I'm definitely gonna say keep him. We spoke off air about the alternative because then he's not gonna fire himself. So the alternative I mean the only way for him to be fired is for the guy up top to kind of step out of the shadows, which always ends up being a bad thing. In some way, shape, or form. He can't really stay out of his own way. He could be doing the right thing, but the way he relays, they say sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. So
Right.
it just seems like he says the wrong thing or does the wrong thing, even if the intentions are in the right place. So anything to keep Dolan away, um, I'm for that. But just based off of the job, before I get into the job that they've done, um, coming into the hiring a guy not only inexperienced, but like you could argue no experience, never been in on that side of the spectrum. He kind of negotiated against that side or with that side, so he kind of knew some aspects, but never been on that side of the table. Um, so with that being said, I think should come like a grain of salt or a grace period, a learning curve, however you want to word it, that you should expect some mistakes or not everything to be done right and things of that nature. So with all that being said, I think that he's done a great job, a hell of a job. Um, Even with us fans being upset last year at the annual draft party, shameless plug, you guys get your tickets. Um, we was upset. We was like, what are y'all doing? What is he doing? You know what I mean? That was the genuine consensus live as the trade of picks was being done, right? And then by the end of the night, or some people had to sleep on it, or once the season started, whatever the case, it started to look like the savvy move that it was. And then, as you said, he turned one pick into Grimes and Cam. Um,
Hmm.
things like this have kind of been the mo. They moved down in a previous draft as well, right? And kind of picked up assets at the time. I believe is with not the first pick, but with the second pick that they
With the
had.
second pick. Right. Right.
So
Right.
so like they've been doing very savvy things in that aspect. As far as the free agency, this is where I give some grace period. Some grace, some learning curves, some room for error, if you will. They did the Kimber Walker thing, which obviously turned out to be a fail, a epic
Bust. Hmm.
fail, whichever way you want to word it. But even in it being done, I could see the risk and or the reward if it worked out. So wasn't quite upset with it. Wasn't a long term thing. The money wasn't something astronomical like the contract he was coming off of.
Right.
So again, I see what they were trying to do, didn't work out. The Fournier move, I actually liked it. I like the amount. I don't think it's something that we're stuck with and can't move on from if we ultimately change our mind and feel like we don't want to keep them, or even with the amount, and we make a big move for a top-notch player making 30 million or so. That's going to be half of the filler in the contract. So um I think they've done great, and I'm for, no matter what happens at this point, we could literally like fall off a cliff. I think need to ride it out and kind of let the contract be what it is. The real question is, can he prove it? Can he prove himself enough to get an extension or to get renewed once his time is done? But I'm for letting him fulfill his contract obligation, and live with the results. It builds character and it builds culture.
Yeah. Okay. My man, Ron Cleveland.
Man, what's
What is
going on,
popping
Sil?
with you, my brother? How are you feeling?
Man, hey, I had to jump on when I heard Tony say, "Hey, come on in, man." I was in there. I was waiting for you to come on because the topic is something that's near and dear to me. But this team, man, hey, we go a long ways back, Sim. You know what I mean? Hey, that phrase came off of your platform. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been no man phrase if it wasn't for you. You know what I mean? So
Appreciate that,
salute
brother.
to
I
you, man.
appreciate that.
Keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. Great topic. Leon Rose.
Yeah.
Sam, I'm gonna tell you, I try to be patient with the guy, man. Yeah, one, I understand. Hey, you're a novice. You don't have no kind of. You've never been in this arena, so I'm gonna take my time with you. With that being said, I look at year one. I look at year two. I see a lot of the same mistakes. Year one, what you gave us in the free agency, because let's make no mistakes about it. That guy was not brought here. Take this thing off. Yeah, that guy, he was not brought here to get us no draft picks. That guy was brought here to bring us players, man. You know what I mean? So other than the drafting part, let's just face it. If it wasn't for the draft, we would be in a total mess right now. It would be a total mess. You know what I mean? And with that even being said, let's analyze what he did year one. Year one, Gordon Hayward, you dodged that bullet. That was great. But you gave us Alfred Payton.
No.
Remember.
It was a re-sign.
It was a re-sign. That's right. I forgot. But I'm not mad at Alfred Payton. I'm not mad at Alfred Payton, man. I'm not mad at Alfred Payton. I thought, listen, Alfred Payton ain't great. We all know that. He ain't great. But I'm not mad at Alfred Payton because I thought.
Guess what?
Hey,
the defense is what he gave us.
I'm going to start something real quick. He ain't great, but guess what? We ain't good without him.
No lies told. He's in the playoffs and we ain't.
You're right. We watching
all those Knicks players we let go are in the playoffs still.
Yeah. So
not to say that it was, I'm just saying it facetiously, but you dig what I'm saying.
So year one, I gave him kind of a break. The Alfred Payton thing, when he let Alfred Payton go. Okay, if you let Alfred Payton go, you had time to go get us a point guard. What you did, you let all these point guards go by. And then you bring the guy back, and because you brought him back because of the CBA, you had to give him a no trade clause. Now, not only did that happen, okay, so like I said, I ain't kill him too bad. But Alfred Payton, that was, what that was. Derrick Rose, I'm not giving him no credit for Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose, that wasn't even really a signing because you knew that was going to work because of Tibbs. The history is well documented. We all know that. Now, this way, I get on him with year two. Okay, I understand year one, you being prudent. You know what I mean? You're being kind of cheap with the money because he brought in some. Who else he gave us? I can't remember all the mess he did, but he did some mess in year one. Because I think we had Amari Spellman too. We had Spellman on the team. Didn't do nothing with him. We had Michael Kidd Gilchrist.
Man, I think they brought them guys in the training camp, but I don't think they ever had any.
Shouldn't have never even worn a jersey. Shouldn't have never even worn a jersey, Sim. You know there are players on this team that you like, man, how in the world are even wearing our team jersey? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
So year one, I ain't gonna beat him up too bad, but this is what really got me. Year two. Now year one, you come off of we made the doggone 4th seed. And you know why we got smashed in that Atlanta series. The point of attack at that point guard position. We couldn't stop Trae Young. We couldn't really score from that position in the starting position. And you don't go out and address that point guard position. Coming off of that 4th seed with the ammunition we had, the draft picks, and the money, because the money was right too. You don't go out and solidify that thing because you think about it, Sim. Nobody could have told us, hey man, coming off of that disappointing basically gentleman's sweep, that the New York Knicks wasn't gonna come back this year, and have
This
us a
year.
bona fide point guard
True.
that was gonna stop the leaks.
True.
You don't go address that situation. So I look at that, man, and I'm like, and then you had opportunities. Lonzo wanted to come here. Magic told you to go get him. His daddy wanted him here. The guy even wanted to come here, and they said the front office was split on him. It ain't no question when you've been looking for a point guard since Charlie Ward, and really since Stephon Marbury. That's the last good point guard we've had.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to address that point guard position. You don't have a point guard. You don't have a quarterback for your offense to keep things flowing. And so when I look at that major disappointment, and then not only that, you come back around. Okay, I understand. I'm loving the Obi pick. I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't got a problem with Obi. But it's well documented that the New York Knicks was interested in Halliburton. Now, they go to Sacramento to try to trade for him, right? But they don't try to trade for him. They go to make a trade. They ask for the other kid.
Fox.
And they tell you Fox ain't available. But it didn't dawn in your head, okay, these guys got 3 point guards on their roster. You don't ask about the other 2 because they can't play them all. And then this what teed me off is when Halliburton got traded. You know what came out? You know what they said? They didn't know he was available.
Well, I mean,
all them people in your office, and you went down there to look for a point guard, and you tell me you don't know he was available. Come on, man.
So let me ask you this: do you think that their financial situation, not just financial situation, but draft capital, financial situation, all of that, is the best that it's been in years?
It is, and it ain't because of his doing. He inherited that. Let's give the people the credit who started that thing. Got to give Phil Jackson his credit with that because Phil said when he came in.
I agree.
I'm not giving away picks.
He said he wasn't giving away no draft picks.
And he cleared them books up. Him and Scott Perry and them guys.
Yep, they cleared up some books. Mills. But I think if you look at their draft situation right now, I mean, like they have, because you talk about bringing in players.
Yeah.
Right. They have the draft. They have the capital. If somebody comes available, they have the capital to do so. The most capital that they've had in years to be able to facilitate a trade. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I think I don't know how much that goes to Leon Rose or goes to, the guy that got there from Utah, or what's his name?
Oh, it's Walt Perrin. Yeah, Walt Perrin, that guy.
Walt Perrin. I mean, and I mean, obviously, it's gonna reflect on Leon Rose because that was his hire, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna reflect on Leon Rose. So I mean, but Walt Perrin is a wizard at being able to make moves, accumulate assets. The Knicks have, like 4 or 5 second-round draft picks in 2023. They have 4 of them in 2024, and these are going to be draft picks that could be very valuable because of, you're going to have guys coming out of high school. So I do think they set the Knicks up in a situation to where they'll be able to make a move for somebody if they come available. Like if Donovan Mitchell does come available this summer, they'd be able to make a move for him if they want to, because they also have tradable contracts, I think. So I think in that aspect, they did a good job.
My only problem, though, I'm scared. Because of what I've seen thus far from them. I don't have. If anybody say they know the direction of what they're gonna do,
and see, I have a lot of questions about whether or not they can wheel a deal.
That's my problem.
On that front. Yeah. We've seen them do some working in the draft. A lot of that's probably Walt Perrin too. But can they wheel and deal when it comes time? I agree with you 100%. Tony?
I agree as well. You made some great points, Ron. Can they get out of their comfort zone? Can they take a risk? Can they do something aggressive? Everything they've done, as savvy as it's been, it's kind of been a little under the radar,
Safe.
not too flashy. You know what I mean? You can justify it. It's not anything to actually get upset about, or they got to do too much explaining about what they were thinking. But that's also not a bad thing for somebody new to this position. One of the things that does worry me, especially when it comes to Donovan Mitchell and a trade, or even a Mike Conley for that matter, any trade with that organization, is they do have Danny Ainge over there right now, and we know his reputation as far as winning and losing trades. So I would hate for Leon and the noviceness, if that's a word, you know what I mean, but trying to make a trade with Danny Ainge, it's gonna be hard to not give up too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not overpay. And I'm willing to overpay a little bit, but when it comes to Danny and his reputation and what he's done to some opposing teams in trades, is dangerous.
Yeah, I'm glad you went too, Tony, because you made me think about another mishap with this front office, man. You made me think about a couple of them, man. I love Derrick Rose. We got to stop putting our money on players who stay hurt, man. We got to stop that, man. Derrick Rose, Derrick Rose. I would love to see Derrick Rose win a championship. It ain't gonna happen with us. I'm convinced of that. It ain't gonna happen with us. You know what I mean? We should not
I
have
agree.
signed Derrick Rose. And then this is the kicker that got me really teed. But before I get to him, the Frank Ntilikina situation. Of course, Frank needed to go. Detroit wanted him. You re-signed that guy. You held on to him, and then you let him walk for nothing when you could have got something from it. Even Golden State wanted him at one point during the offseason. You didn't move him, so you lost him for nothing. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, because we talking about point guard. We better be trying to take care of Mitch. Mitch walk out the door. Boy, do we remember how bad our center position was before he got here? This man went and paid Nerlens Noel, who had a history of knee problems, injury problems. You gave him the money that you should have bet on Mitch on. And it was because of that playoff that they went and paid Nerlens, trying to reward him. I understand that. But my bet, I'm going to put my money on the young fella. I'm not going to pay a guy who's been injured like that. And Nerlens Noel, he need to give money back because he ain't played all year. I forgot that he was on the roster. I think he played 20 games, 20, 25
he only
games.
played like he only played like 20, 25
23,
games,
I think. Yeah, 23,
something like
25.
that. He played.
And not even a whole game. So
that
was a major mistake. And I think
that was a big mistake. I'll say this: it's a mistake because he was injured. If he wasn't injured, it may not have been a mistake.
And it was a mistake that was warranted. Like you can't hold him to that. After what Noel's did, he carried us when Mitch went down last year. You know what I mean? Like we would not have been in the fourth seed. We might not have been in the playoffs had Noel not only stay healthy for the remainder of the season, but contribute immensely on the defensive end.
Yeah.
So I think it was worth the risk. I think even with the risk, he's still a movable contract. And if we can't move him this year, guess what? We don't. He's done.
You're done with him.
You're gonna have to attach something to him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they would have. I mean, you might be right.
Second round pick,
I don't know. You might be right.
You might have to show that he's healthy first. So you know what I mean. It don't got to be the off season.
You're right.
Right, or if he's included in a larger trade, you know, something like that. If he's included in a larger trade, but if not, then you wipe the slate clean with him next year. But remember, they can go over the cap to sign Mitch. You know what I mean? So
But there's the only problem with that, Sim, and you know this. You're gonna go over the cap and you ain't even a playoff team yet.
I think that, but I mean, I agree with you. I don't want the Knicks to go over the cap. You know what I mean? But I don't think that. I think there'll be some other things that go down to relieve some money. You know what I'm saying? If they have to go over the cap to sign Mitch, so I think that they would make those moves first, and I think that's going to be people are going to get mad. And Mets, I'm coming to you, my man. People are going to get mad because I think it's going to be some time. It may take some time in the offseason before that deal gets done with Mitch,
I'll tell you
because
this.
because
Go
I
ahead.
think they're going to try to make other moves first.
Yeah.
They're going to make those moves happen because they know that they can sign Mitch over the cap. So I think they're going to make those moves happen first, whatever they might be. They're going to take care of those things and then come to Mitch.
What they need to do, they definitely need to have some transparency with Mitch, man. Have a
Yeah,
conversation with him, let him know, hey, we're gonna do this first. We're gonna make sure we take, but we are not gonna forget about you. We're gonna
yeah,
take care of you. Leon need to talk more than he did this whole season. Because looking at the way Leon operated, man, think about it. Leon ain't talked to us as the fans all season long. Tom had to be the mouthpiece for the team.
yeah.
We don't know
I
what's
mean,
going on. And so, like I said, man, that Mitch situation, and anybody complaining about paying Mitch $58 million, I think that's his max is 58. You guys to be crazy. And especially when I'm hearing people want to pay RJ 181. And RJ ain't no 181 player right now. He'll tell you himself he ain't worth 181.
so
But
let me
people want
ask
to
you,
pay him
Ron.
181.
Let me ask you, Ron. So,
Huh?
so what are you doing with Leon Rose? With Leon Rose, are you keeping him? And right now, ladies and gentlemen, the Memphis Grizzlies are smacking the Golden State Warriors 103 to 58.
Wow.
Almost by 50 points, bro.
Wow.
Almost by 50 points. That's crazy.
Well, you know, they say
103
their
to
defense is
58.
better, way better with Ja off the floor. I
It's
remember they were
crazy.
saying that plus minus was a major difference when he's off the floor.
Crazy. And you know Steve Kerr ain't coaching tonight either.
Oh, you
He ain't
talking about the guy
coaching
that
tonight.
going to Sacramento to get fired?
He ain't but but what are you doing? Are you keeping Leon Rose or you dumping him? While you thinking about that, I'm gonna get Mets in the building. Talk to me. You keeping him or you dumping him?
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Only way I keep him, I'm gonna save the other guy because it's connected with them too. But I'm gonna tell you this: Leon Rose, this is last year. He has to do something. If he does not get this thing in the right direction, at the end of the season, he's gone. He's gone. But I'm
Mhm,
gonna tell you, me
mhm.
personally, I hate to go this route because you ain't got to him yet. But my answer is kind of connected to these two guys. I want him gone because he's sticking with Tom Thibodeau. And this was my biggest problem, Sam. You know this. In the end of the season, man, don't the teams have an end of the season review where they bring you in
Yeah.
and talk about your performance, how you played as a player, and they bring the coaching staff in and they talk at the end of the season. How Leon Rose gonna come and talk about Tom Thibodeau? His job is safe. He's coming back. And remember, up until that point, his man had done ran upstairs to Dolan and tried to rat him out of here. And Dolan told him, "Hey, you got the choice to either fire him or keep him." So it's obvious Tom was not doing a good job because your your right hand man, went upstairs. And so now all of a sudden, because we started having that little win near the end of the season, like I said, I ain't let that cloud my judgment.
Yeah.
Tom need to be
So
gone.
I
And so
actually heard.
I would get rid of Leon, man.
Yeah,
Just
so I
because
actually heard about that about what's
that's
going,
supposed to,
going upstairs.
yeah.
So what happened, what from what I understand and what I was told, from what happened that night, you know, James Dolan was pissed off on the sideline, pissed off.
Rightfully
All
so.
right. And he actually went to them
Mm,
and said, "What's the problem?" And then that's where the conversation took place. All
mm.
right. And this is from somebody who was there. All right. So he went to them and said, "What's the issue? What's the problem?" And the conversation took place there. So,
Man,
you
that's
know,
an eye opener and light of that. that makes it even more egregious on how you gonna keep this guy, because if the owner came to you and asked you a question and you willfully giving information, it's obvious
So,
that you didn't put the man under the bus. So
yeah, but Mets, what's going on, Mets? What's popping with you?
What's going on
right now? We rock. We're giving everybody a chance to get in and get a couple minutes in.
I know.
But today is me, Tony, and man. That's good. That's gonna be rocking. But we're gonna let you get in and get your 2 cents
Anyway,
in, bro.
Here's my opinion. I say, since they're so attached to hip, get rid of both of them. Both of them are just, one is basically the brainless scarecrow of the front office yes men. That being Leon Rose. There's no reason or logic behind everything he does. I mean, what the heck was he thinking in signing Kemba, a guy who's basically a glass can at the knees, to a 2-year, $16 million contract? Sure, on its own, that's not a big albatross. But when you look at the fact that the guy didn't even play a quarter of the season, and Thibodeau was justified in shutting him down only for basically Rose to get on his ass and tell him to put him back in the lineup, and it did more harm than good, it crippled the team. On the other hand, with Thibodeau, this guy, I've called him a tin man all year. What if it's true that I say that he doesn't have a heart? He's more a machine than a man. What does that change? Doesn't matter at all. He's made his plan.
Hey, Mets, I'm with you on that, and that's why I hated to go there, because I know Sim hadn't went to Tom Thibodeau yet, but my answer was a lot like yours. I mean, I feel like both of them should go. And simple as this, the reason why both of them got to go, Sim, and I guess we can go there now, man, but this Tom Thibodeau situation. Reason why both...
We'll go there. Let me just read off in the chat. In the chat, right now, 72% of the chat says to keep Leon Rose. 28% says to dump him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a shocker. I mean, if we're going to resolve this, here's what I say we do. 1, get rid of Noel and Kemba in a cap dump. Trade them out for some future draft picks, second-round picks or so down the line. That's what we could get for them at best. 2, if we're going to get rid of the Randall contract, get rid of him for some role pieces. I don't care who. And 3, get either a competent point guard or a combo guard in the draft. Get someone like Mathering, Daniels, Obaji, or heck, even Kennedy, whatever his name is, from Tennessee in the draft. And 4, most importantly, don't trade down, because that has bitten us in the ass on at least 2 occasions. 2002, we had the 7th pick, which could have been either Nene or Amari, and we traded down, and what did we get out of it? Frank Williams. 2007 pick, we traded for Eddie Curry to Chicago. And what did that turn into? Wilson Chandler, when we could have gotten in a Joakim Noah healthy in his prime.
What has this regime done when we traded down?
Where was Porzingis? Is that what you said?
No,
what has this regime done when they traded down? You can't judge them off of another regime.
I mean, sure, we traded down to get Quentin Grimes for, I believe it was Keon Hunt or Keon Johnson we originally got in the last draft, which I didn't really mind, but and yes, Grimes has proven to be a solid acquisition, but still, the last 20 or so drafts, the Knicks have shown complete incompetence when it comes to drafts. I mean, sure, 2015, 2019 drafts, bad luck that we didn't get the top pick. Though I think with the latter draft, it's panned out better given how much of a health liability Zion has become.
Yeah. So you believe move on from him. That's where you're at. Move on from him, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, Mets. I think some other people might want to join in. If not, maybe we'll bring you back in later. All right. But we're gonna rock with the 3 of us tonight. I appreciate you. You can stay in the green room and listen in if you want to. All right.
Okay.
All right, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
Shout out to Mets. He fired up. You know, he just made me think about something else too, Sim, man. Leon. Leon, you needed a point guard, man. You needed a point guard. After coming off of it, you needed a point guard. And what did we do?
It's no doubt about it.
Our first pick was a shooting guard. And then you went out and you signed Evan Fournier. Yeah. Come on, Sims, man.
I hear you.
Come on, coach. Come on, coach.
Hey. I'm gonna give my response in just a second. Let me get to Josh's super chat here.
Julio.
He said 29 out of 30 teams are over the cap this year. 16 out of 30 were over the luxury tax. Being over the cap in the NBA is not that big of a deal. The Knicks are 27th in payroll. The Knicks are financially okay. I kind of agree with him. To me, it's more about long-term salary, right? Salary that's hard to get out of, rather than just being over the cap, because being over the cap, it's not like there's many ramifications besides you pay some extra money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know if there's any other consequences besides that.
Yeah, if you become a repeater, then they hit you real hard with that luxury tax.
Yeah, right. You pay that repeater tax. But it's money, though. It doesn't stop you from signing players. It doesn't stop you from, they don't take draft picks from you or do anything like that. Here's my thing. We talk a lot about, saying that, these signings that, the Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier and this and that and this and that. But my thing is, if they would have worked, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? Or not even if they didn't work, but what about this? Right? Because we all know the Knicks, in my opinion, could have at least been in the play-in if they won just a few more games, right? Very possible for them to do that. And if that did happen, I think we would still be having a different conversation. You know what I'm saying? About the job that Leon wrote. Let's say Derrick Rose didn't get hurt and miss 50-something games this season. Or, 50 whatever games this season. He only played like 25 games. Let's say he didn't get hurt. I think there's a very good chance the Knicks are in the play-in if Derrick Rose doesn't get hurt and battling for a playoff spot, through the play-in. I think there's a very good chance. And the Knicks probably have a winning record, I think. The Knicks were 8 games below 500, which means if they win 4 games, they're a 500 basketball team. So I think, there was a very good chance that if Derrick Rose played, they could have been in the play-in, and people might be singing a different tune about, some of the signings. Maybe not the Kemba Walker, right? But the Evan Fournier, people might be singing a little bit of a different tune about that. It's hard to judge the job that they've done. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get to J Boogie. I want to know what you think about Leon Rose, keep him or dump him, and, really quick, because I want to move on to Tom Thibodeau. Let me get to J Boogie, Tony, and I'll come up to you. J Boogie, talk to me, man.
Salute, 3 capital S's. Shout out to the chat, everybody rocking with the NBK show. I want to say, thank you, Sam, for allowing me to come up on and rock with you. I never seen you on at night. So it's an honor for me to come up here and rock with you. And I see you got my man over here, man, 3 capital M's, 3 little A's, 3 little N's, and definitely come after the K representing the Knicks. My man Tony Crow over there, I built with him earlier today. I'm going to keep it real sweet and simple with you. And I'm going to tell you like Buddy told us in New Jack City. Hey, yo, Schmitty. I'm here to tell you your services in the community is no longer needed. Because you don't show me that you're the same thing as Fizdale. You know what I'm saying? You came here, you're supposed to be bringing players with you. You didn't do none of that. So you fired Fizdale. We got rid of Fizdale. Why not get rid of him? If you can't do the job that we brought you here for, then you're no good for us. You know what I'm saying? You came here with a clean slate. The whole thing was wide open. You didn't sign Julius, like you said. You didn't draft RJ, and you came here with a whole bag. The first opportunity that you had with the whole bag, you panicked, blew the whole bag. Y'all talking about, what I'm saying? We still got, it ain't worth nothing still being up under the cap. if we don't blew the whole bag, you got to figure out how to get rid of these dudes.
But
You know what I'm
see, just the way that I think, I don't think it's blown, because I
Right.
think the guys are movable, right? So I think
Right.
there's different ways to use your cap. So you can use your cap where, okay, I'm gonna bring in a guy and on a movable contract. So now I can move that player for something else, which is just as good as having, being able to sign somebody. I think the contracts are movable.
But you know what it is, though, Sim? It's blown in this regards. You had a better crop of free agents that you could have went and got. You had Kelly Oubre sitting out there. You had a Dennis Schroeder sitting out there. You had, you know what I mean? It was a better crop in what you brought in. And this is a big knock on Leon. And I'm kicking right through Tony. This is a bigger problem. You have a defensive-minded coach. You wanted to go offensive-minded. You bring in Kemba. I understand we need offense. You bring in Kemba, you bring in Fournier. But everybody know them guys can't guard nobody. But you expected your defensive-minded coach to be an offensive-minded coach. And it didn't work. It didn't work. And that's my biggest problem with him. If you're gonna have a coach that defense is his thing, you bring in the players that's gonna do what your coach wanted to do. Because there's even reports that your boy wanted to keep Reggie Bullock.
Right.
And they got rid of Reggie. So that goes on Leon's resume, man. Go ahead, Tony.
Two things. The coach and the front office, they do have to be on the same page. But the same page doesn't mean that they agree on every decision, right? So if they were gonna do everything Tibbs wanted as far as personnel decisions, then Tibbs might as well take the position, right? And we see what happened when he had both hats, right? I mean, I'm being real, like, so there's got to be like give and take. You know what I mean? It's going to be some things that he can't get his way on, and I'm not justifying. It was a mistake, and I agree with you. I think Schroeder would have been a better option because he's more of a Tibbs guy, and it would have been an upgrade offensively from the previous defensive point guard.
Guaranteed,
right?
16 every night.
So maybe they missed out there, and especially if they didn't look in that direction, because he was signed late. He was signed after Kemba. You know what I mean? So at that point, the options were dried out anyway. Like all these guys that you said we missed out on. So I agree in Schroeder. We missed out on that because the money would have been around the same. If actually, I think he makes less than Kemba.
Yeah.
This year. So that was a mishaps. But the other guys, the premier targets that like the Lonzo Balls and things of that nature, whether you agree or whether I agree, like, because I like Lonzo, I would have liked us to go after him.
Man, I love him.
But if they don't believe in him, one, you can't fault them for not going after him.
This, Tony, I'm gonna have to
if they weren't sure with the money.
Guess what? You know they had 2 deals on the table for Lonzo before at that trade deadline. There was 2 deals that Cleveland said, So guess what? If you done told me, it's like going after a chick, man. You done shot your shot 2 times. You obviously want her, right? You're gonna do what you need to do to get that woman. You know you wanted that man. You done gave 2 deals and they ain't bite. Hey, I'm gonna give a 3rd one. I'm gonna make you give me this guy because it's obvious you want him if you gave 2. Unless it's something ridiculous that was going to break the bank, man. But if you gave 2 deals, you obviously wanted the man.
But if those deals may not compare to what he got in the open market,
right. And what if right, they tried to make these deals and his team said, we're going to free agency and there's a chance we might not sign back with you. So you might give up all these assets and we may not sign back with you because we kind of like what Chicago's talking about. You know what I mean? We know how that whole situation went down with Chicago.
And then DeRozan, too, is another mark on him, too. Because it was reported DeRozan wanted to come to the Knicks. He wanted the Knicks. And that's
he would have chosen New York over Chicago if New York matched the offer.
And this is the sad thing about that, Sim. This is why this was a major blunder. Remember all season who they were saying we was looking at in Portland? It wasn't CJ McCollum. They wanted Damian Lillard. And it's reported that if the Knicks would have gotten DeRozan, Damian Lillard was coming because them boys been wanting to play together. So it's another fumble on their part, man. Somebody got to wake up.
Here's the thing, though.
I mean, is that
a
fumble? Because
it's a hindsight fumble.
Yeah.
Because when I tell you right now, when I mentioned DeRozan in the offseason, I got killed by mad people in the chat.
I wouldn't have killed you.
Mad people. He's not a star. He's over the hill. Same old Knicks. You know what I mean? I don't think the buzz about missing out on him was until Chicago got off into a hot start. And I'm not saying you in general. I'm saying the consensus was not very high on DeRozan.
Till he start cooking.
Because I was like, I said use DeRozan to try to lure Larry. You know what I mean? Because I figured
I wanted him too. He was another one I wanted. We ain't even bothered to pick up the phone, man. Come on, man.
But a lot of these guys' decisions were made already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And then one last thing on Leon and what he was brought here to do and bring guys in. Yes, that is true. But what was going to be his main power of influence in bringing guys in? Guys that he has relationships with. So you can't fault him for any guy that like wasn't a CAA guy. You know what I mean? Like I think Chris Paul was high on his list. I think Chris Paul was close to becoming a Knick if they didn't get so far in the playoffs. Because at that point, Phoenix had no choice but to pay him to keep him. And as Chris Paul, you just went to the finals. How do you revert from that?
Yeah, and even before that, the pandemic. When that pandemic hit, because he was coming, but he was like after the pandemic hit, Madison Square Garden ain't Madison Square Garden because the building was empty.
Right, and then looking at that whole thing with DeRozan, then we'll move on to Tibbs. Let's say that the Knicks did make that move for DeRozan, and then Damian Lillard followed, and then Damian Lillard got hurt like he did, and he was out for the season. It would have looked bad that way too. Everybody would have looked back. It's like, damn, now we paying 40-something, whatever $1 million to a guy that ain't even on the court.
But you know what?
We gave up Obi. We gave up quickly. We gave up.
we gave up all our draft picks.
But you know, it might not happen that way. You know, you never know.
It might not. Yeah, I mean, you're right. It might not have. It might not have.
And the situation might have just been the case.
During that time, you would have had to celebrate the changing of the culture.
Yeah.
See, that's the most important thing about the squad. It's the culture. The culture was changed. You know what I'm saying? And being that all these players that we all wanted to come to the Knicks this season, and it was decided to go all different places. That's when you were supposed to stay within the culture and not made no moves. Only thing I could have did was let Peyton go. If Peyton go, the culture stays. So you can't let a guy go like Bullock that tell you, yo, my neck is messed up, and I'm gonna give you some money back. And then when he starts rocking for you, you let him go. See, that shows bad value.
That's a great.
But that was also on Bullock as well. It was also on Bullock because he didn't want to wait. They were going to give him a deal, but he wanted his money right now. He didn't want to wait until other things took place. So that was also on Bullock. So the two couldn't come to an agreement on when to make it happen, right? Because they did want to bring Bullock back, but he wanted to get the deal done sooner rather than later.
See, that's the Noel. That's the Noel thing. See, when dudes get a peep of what's going on, what's happening, yo, you got to make these moves now. I learned from the past situations about people missing out. I can't miss out on this bread over here in Dallas. What you gonna do? You gonna handle your business? Extra $5 million of it is mine.
I mean, I get that, but you know, and that's the business move that he had to make for himself. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Knicks were willing to bring him back, but they wanted to, like for example, like I'm talking, and I don't know if it was like this with Reggie Bullock. It could have been like this with Reggie Bullock, as far as his contract was concerned. It could have been. I'm not sure, but like I'm saying with Mitch, if the Knicks are going to re-sign Mitch, it may not happen until after they've made their other moves because they can go over the cap, right? So it's certain things like that say, you know, like the when you sign a player means something sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, obviously don't know how everything went down between Reggie Bullock and the Knicks, but some of that could have been in play. My take on with Leon Rose is I still think there's more to be done before I can say get him out of there. That's my take. I still
This my
think there's
last
more to be
season
done.
with him. This
You
is
know
my
what I'm
last
saying?
season with him. I ain't letting him
Yeah.
get to year 4. If the Knicks don't get back to the playoffs this year, man, and that's another thing we got to consider. Dolan has been very quiet. And I asked this question the other day, Sim, man, when the last time you ever seen a 4th seed, the team go from the 4th seed to not even making the playoffs the next season?
Yeah,
When has that ever
listen,
happened?
here's the thing. Here's I don't know. But here's the thing though. Here's
It's
the thing
happened.
though.
Teams
I'm
has
sure it's happened.
teams has gotten
But
further and haven't made it to playoffs the next
yeah,
year.
listen, you've got to look at the East in the way the East changed.
It got better.
The East this year is way better than it was in that year that the Knicks made that 4th seed.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're talking about the Knicks could have been 500 and not made the play-in at 500. They could have been above 500, like a couple games above 500 and still not made the play-in. So the East got pretty deep this season. So, that's and still I think if Rose was healthy, I think they could have been in the play-in game if Rose was healthy. I still think that. But it's either neither here nor there because he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the problem with Derrick Rose too, right?
Yeah. So I got one last thing to say about Leon with that whole Mitch situation. This really what really gets me with it is because, okay, you paid Nerlens, right? Now when you paid Nerlens what you paid him, you already told Mitch, we ain't bringing you back. Because you're not tying up money in 2 centers. We know that. That's not happening on no team. So it backfired because Nerlens couldn't stay healthy. So now you're trying to circle the wagons, go backwards to back up to Mitch your fallback plan. You know what I mean? And now it's looking like Mitch going to be walking out of the door for nothing. But I got a little happy today when I saw that thing Mitch had on that shirt said New York or nowhere. So
yeah, well,
I'm gonna keep hope alive like Jesse Jackson.
We're gonna find out if he's real about that and if he's real about it.
And he's wearing it a couple different places. So I think that's his favorite shirt. I seen him. I hope he got a couple of them. It's not the same one, but he been wearing it.
All right, let's talk about Tom Thibodeau. Right now in the chat, let me see what the number is. 74% of the chat, 98 votes. 74% say keep him, 26% say dump him. So that's what we got right now. I'm going to end this poll right here, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to talk about Tom Thibodeau. Do we want to keep or dump Tom Thibodeau? But before we get to that, of course, we got to do a little bit of a plug before we get to that. Then we'll get to Tom Thibodeau. For those who are just joining us, make sure you get your tickets for the draft party. It is pinned to the top of your chat right now. This is the link pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Might as well just go ahead and drop the commercial. Then we get right back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City. There'll be a live podcast, live DJ, live video shoot. $40 for a VIP ticket, $30 for draft night only. Get your tickets now. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Get your tickets right now. There's a link in the description of the video. Pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. There's a link right there. We're going to be there to June 23rd. We're going to be there June 24th. We got a live podcast on June 23rd where we're going to be talking and breaking down the draft. We got a live DJ. DJ Shuttle is going to be there rocking with us. That's going to be dope. You know what I'm saying? And then we got a live video shoot. All right. And we're going to be doing all those things on the 23rd. And then on the 24th, we're going to do a follow-up show. Right. And it includes a full lunch. You know what I'm saying? We got a basketball game. It's going to be dope, man. Make sure that you get your tickets. Just go ahead and get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Thibodeau. Let's go ahead and start breaking that one down because Tom Thibodeau is directly related to Leon Rose, right? Leon Rose brings in players that coach is going to look better.
Yeah.
Unless that coach just can't coach at all. That coach is going to look better. You know what I'm saying? If Leon Rose can't bring in players, that coach is going to have a tough time looking good. But Tom Thibodeau, and I know people are going to say, you know, this is history. You know, that it don't matter now. This, that, and the third. I can dig it. But that's only the third losing season in his entire career. His entire career. And in 2018, 2019, he was fired after 40 games, and he was 19-21. Very good chance they could have ended up above 500 in that season. The guy knows how to win. I know, you know, people are going to look and talk about his rotations and talk about some stuff. He's proven that he knows how to win. I think, you know, listen, he had a bad season. I think he made some bad decisions, obviously, but I think he's proven that he can coach. He deserves a chance to try to turn it around. If you want to say, you know, this season is going to be a turnaround season. We've seen a lot of teams have, you know, deal with injuries and this, that, and the third, have a below 500 season and then come back and play well that next season. You know what I mean? I don't know if the Knicks are one of those teams or not, because next season is not here. But I still think Tom Thibodeau is a good coach. I'm for holding on to him at least for this season and see how things go. You know what I mean? And if things just flop this season, then, you know, I think you got to turn everything over. You know, but I'm for holding on to him. I just think there's too much basketball knowledge there. Right? That's my opinion. And that listen, when you got an unbalanced roster, you're gonna make some bad decisions. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I had some really, really unbalanced rosters. You know what I mean? And you're gonna make bad decisions because you look down your bench and you're like, damn, who do I put in the game that I think that can make the change that I need? You know what I mean? And while we see things that players, you know, we see players out there, we say, oh, well, this guy can do it, that guy can do it. And the coach might not see it the same way. You know what I mean? Tony, what's your thoughts on it, man?
Well, I probably have the rarest take of them all. It's definitely keep him. But I'm going to go as far as to say, you know, I've been saying it for a while. Keep him through the length of his contract. Let him finish his contract. You know, unless he loses the players like completely, and you don't hear them giving that same confidence in what he's doing and how he prepares them and so on and so forth. Unless he loses the players, you got to let him finish his contract. Jay Bull, you mentioned culture, right? And I think that's a big part of, you know, the Knicks culture in the past and the lack of stability. You know, running through coaches, running through GMs or all these positions, no stability. You know, even if it doesn't work, I'm for letting them rock out and finish that contract, so the next guy coming in doesn't feel like, hey, I'm just here for the money. You know, I might not be here. I might sign for 5, but I might only be here 1. And then it leads to lack of confidence in their job, you know, in job security. So, you know, I hope it doesn't get bad or worse. I hope it improves. But I feel like we really gotta ride this thing out. It you know, it was labeled a rebuild. We know rebuild takes time. At the very least, hopefully we see some progression. You know, this is one of the reasons why I felt like, you know, getting that home court advantage, getting that 4th seed was a gift and a curse, because I knew the next year was going to be more expectation. I would have preferred us kind of ease our way into the playoffs and then strive to, you know, like play in, maybe make the playoffs and then strive for 6 or better and work our way up, because it does look bad and feel bad when you regress as a team, but at the same time, I look at it as we skipped a step, and now we kind of leveled out a little bit, or maybe we fell back a step, and next year we could kind of level out a little bit. But I'm for keep him. I'm not mad at the job he's done. I don't agree with everything he's done, but I knew who he was coming in, and I felt like once they made the decision You know, I wanted Atkinson. I wanted Atkinson and I wanted Youth. But once we went with the decision for Tibbs, and me knowing who he is and his reputation, he actually surprised me in showing some of the things he changed in. You know, we talk about him not playing youth. Quickly earned his spot as a rookie. You know what I mean? And if anybody is not or was looked at as not a Tibbs player, it was probably quickly. You know what I mean? Like, and he stayed himself and earned his way in. And Tibbs is you know, the youth practices and things of that nature. You got guys like Taj saying, hey, what's the biggest change I've noticed of Tibbs over the year? He works with the young guys. You know what I mean? Like, he talks to the young guys. He gives them their own separate practice. You know what I mean? So he's learning how to not be in his own way as well, and how to adapt different techniques and things of that nature. So as far as for culture reasons, let him rock out and let him finish his contract and kind of live with the results. Hopefully it don't go all bad.
Yeah. Ron, I know you said it earlier already, but I'm gonna let you come back to it. Tom Thibodeau.
Tom Thibodeau, this is your captain speaking. Please put your tray in the upright position. Fasten your seatbelts. Prepare for takeoff. Parts unknown. Fly him up out of here on the first thing smoking.
Oh, man. All right.
And I'm going to give you all the reasons why. That 4th seed we got that 4th seed in spite of the same stuff that Tom Thibodeau been doing this year. Inconsistent rosters, the substitution patterns, pulling guys out of the game when guys got it going. You got guys playing out of position. I mean, and this is what really teased me off by Tom. So you tell me, and I remember the first time, Sam, because, you know, I was incognito. I was out of it, you know what I mean? Not doing no show, not being on nobody's shows.
Right.
The minute I came back was when I heard Tom Thibodeau put Alex Burks at the starting point guard position. And I remember coming on Freezy Show, and I said, man, I'm going to tell y'all like this. If Alex Burks is our starting point guard, we are in trouble. That man played 50 games at the point guard position. This is what teased me off. You drafted Deuce. You wanted Deuce. You got ready, IQ. Bro. After Derrick Rose and Kimba, you know, Kimba got sent away and Derrick went down. I said, okay, he gonna play Deuce because the season was gone. We're not making the playoffs. This is the thing that teed me off. Them guys could have got a lot more time on the court when the season was clearly gone, man. Why are you still trying to playing Taj 37 minutes? You know, you got Cam. We traded for Cam. You're not even playing Cam, giving him DNPs. I saw that guy get 28 in the playoffs.
So here's where I am, and I know people are gonna disagree with me, but I feel like what you're saying about, you know, why was he playing guys deep into the season when they were out of it, right? I just feel like it goes to a mindset when you talk about instilling the culture. It goes to a mindset. We're gonna play until we're mathematically eliminated. We're gonna keep fighting until we're mathematically eliminated. And just like when I'm playing a game, I'm coaching my team. We're down by 20 with 2 minutes left, right? I call a timeout and I'm like, listen, we're not going to run up and down this court and just, you know, play pickup basketball. We're going to fight. We're going to keep pressing. We're going to battle until that last whistle blows. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to scrap all the way into the end. And I've had teams get mad at me, you know what I'm saying? Or get mad at our players because we're scrapping to the end. But I'm trying to build a mindset into these players that you never stop. You never give up. You just keep battling. You know what I mean? And I feel like, you know, that whole thing of trying to battle down until you're mathematically eliminated goes into building that type of a mindset with your basketball players because you got young minds on the team.
Now, let me tell you, Sam, I'm with you on that. I ain't one of them players, one of them people that with that tank stupid stuff because, hey, them guys playing, if you got a competitive bone in your body, and I'm highly competitive in everything I do.
Yeah.
I ain't with that losing stuff. You know what I mean? But when you can clearly look and see that them younger guys was playing better than them starters, I had a problem with that. And we all know the offense looked better with them young fellas, man.
I mean, it looked better playing against other young fellas and other bench players.
Well, how it looked against Miami when we smashed Miami with them young guys.
You know, I mean, there was, that was a different part of the season, though. That was a very different part of the season, though. You know what I'm saying? Like those young guys, and I keep those young guys. If you take those young guys and you think you're gonna start those young guys for an entire season, you're gonna be looking at the lottery, deep lottery. You might be looking at number 1 pick because they're not ready for all of that, in my opinion.
Sim, I'm gonna tell you where I'm at though with this thing, because like you heard me said earlier, we ain't winning nothing no time soon.
No,
you know where I'm at. This is where I came at with the realization with this team. Me personally, I'm to the point where the Knicks ain't going nowhere this year. Keep trying to build through the draft. Play who you gonna play. Decide who these guys you're going to keep, because you got a lot of young players. You ain't going to keep them all. And you got all them draft picks. You're going to have to do something with them. All them groceries going to go stale. Shout out to Freezy for that one. You can't keep them groceries. Eventually, they're going to go rotten. So you got to do something with them. So I'm of the mindset, you keep drafting through that draft. You get the right veterans in there. One, veterans who can stay healthy. First thing, you make that an obligation. And you prioritize figuring out who you're going to keep and who you gonna get up out of here,
right?
Since we're going long haul anyway.
Yeah. And I mean,
at least for this year.
You know what I'm saying? I think. I mean, I'm sure they looked back at the season and evaluated the season. But I think that's the reason why. I'm just saying. I think that's the reason why they played it like that until they were mathematically eliminated. Because it's like we're gonna fight. We're building this mindset, and this is how we're gonna battle. You know what I mean? When I look at, when I look at the roster, when people talk about rotations, right? And you went back to last season. I actually believe the way that he stuck with his lineups is the reason that we made the playoffs and we were the 4th seed. Because if you look at this same exact team, the Knicks had the same exact team under Fizdale with a few changes, Obi and Manuel quickly, right? The same exact team, but Fizdale never had the same starting lineup.
He had the most starting lineup.
Yeah, I think we had
in NBA history, the most.
Yeah, we had like 15 different lineups, and he didn't know who.
Yeah,
I was like, man, he in trouble.
He didn't know what to do. He was all over the place. Frank Ntilikina get 30 minutes one night and get 0 minutes the next night. What is going on?
Hey, but the Knicks was wrong for firing them, though. Let them tell it.
Right.
But Sim, this is the last thing I got to say, and I'm going to kick it to Tony. This is the last thing I got to say, and this was my ears in the hole about why you got to move Tom. Tom made me so mad when he came out of his mouth and said he should have played the young guys sooner. This the coach saying that, Sim. We all saw it. But he tried to paint the picture on the fans like we don't know what we seeing, like we don't know what we talking about. And we watching the same team. Only difference is he's privy to them practices. But we watching the same thing that we see effort and energy on the floor and togetherness, them guys wanting to play together and enjoy playing together. It was a difference between them young guys playing together and that starting lineup. You could see that it had to be something going on internally. And that's my biggest problem. Don't come to me afterwards talking about what you should have, could have, what you should have done. Just play the guys. And that's my biggest problem. That's why Tibbs got to go, because I don't think he's going to fully change. He's not going to embrace the change, man. That guy going to still do the same thing next year. Next season, we're going to be talking about it.
I don't know. I feel like, because people always talk about, I'm going to come, but let me come to Jay Boogie, then I'm going to come to you, Tony. People always talk about he didn't play the kids, but half of our roster was kids. I mean, you had 2 kids in the starting lineup. And then when you come off the bench and you got Quickly and you got Obi and you got Grimes, all those guys was kids. Like, a lot of people want to leave out RJ and Mitch, and they want, as being kids. But you can't, because they're kids.
When I think about kids, I think about rookies. I don't think about guys 2, 3 years in. You ain't no rookie no more after year 1.
So Deuce was the only one that barely played. The other rookies played.
And you got guys. I mean, you and me, like you got to me, I gotta look at RJ as a kid because you got rookies older than RJ. So I mean, I know they haven't been in the league as long as RJ, but they're older than RJ. So RJ's still learning.
I get what you're saying age-wise, yeah. Age-wise.
Yeah, and those guys, because they're a little bit older than RJ, their developmental arc is a little bit closer to being done than RJ's is. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I still look at those guys as being young.
Who've been in college longer than a guy who, unless it's a surefire you can't miss, you need to be getting guys who already been in college at least 2 or 3 years, man, because they know their game. They know who they are. I'd rather take that for sure thing than guessing, because you basically playing the lottery.
Right. C-Mac, CAA affiliate. Here goes sit with Jay Book. What's your thoughts, man? Tom Thibodeau, what we doing? We keeping them or dumping them? Right now, the chat, 60% of the chat says dump them, 40% says keep them.
All right, this is why I got to get rid of Tom. All right. First of all, I can't go against going to get rid of Leon and then don't go get rid of Tom. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Leon, you brought him here. That's your man. All right. Thing is, we know our biggest need is a guard on this team.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to know and realize Tom is not a guard coach. He's not a guard coach. He's never has, never been. He never developed a guard. Derrick Rose was spoon-fed. But if you notice, 50% of that offense didn't go through Derrick. It went through Joakim Noah. So when it going through Joakim Noah, and then he goes to Minnesota, and it goes through Towns, and then he comes from Minnesota and come to New York, and it goes through Julius. He's a power forward developer, man. That's how I look at him. He's only interested in the bigs. All the bigs of all his team offense ran straight through him. So I'm wondering, do you have a problem with guard? Because if you didn't have a problem with guard, and like Tony Crow said, that the situation went quickly, he got that time last year. He was supposed to get that time. We had some trash in the backcourt. Anybody could have took that. But being that he took that, you didn't constantly keep developing that young man. If you would have constantly kept developing that young man from that time through this season right here, going into next season, we wouldn't be talking a lot about a point guard. We wouldn't. Because
I don't know. I mean, because early in the season, Quickly was playing terrible, and Tom rocked with him. He rocked with him hard.
Okay, but
and gave him opportunities to close.
Yeah, but being he rocked with him, you can't rock with him when everybody is gone. Kimber's gone, Rose gone, and you decide to go with a scorer who's killing and take the scoring from him when you got this guard. You can't rock with him. You left him on the bench.
Nah, but Quickly, even in the beginning of the season, he was closing games over Fournier and Kimber.
But I see Jay Boogie's point though, Sim. Think about it. The move when them guys got there, okay, if you're not gonna play Deuce at that point to start him, which Deuce might not been ready. Go ahead and put IQ in that role, because you had IQ as your guy coming off the bench in that second unit. It was supposed to be a lateral movement. You promote from within. Go ahead and move that guy. What you had to lose, but you kept trying to run out Alex Burks.
But
hold up. He gave Burks. Burks proved it from the year before. Burks ran some point guard under Tibbs. He gave Quickly, like, he didn't start him, but he had the majority of the backup point guard duties all year long.
But see, that was the problem. But think about it, Tony. Think about it. Alex Burks, he ruined Alex Burks this year. Alex Burks didn't look nothing like him. It wasn't nothing that Alex Burks was doing in that starting position that warranted him staying in that starter's position.
I agree with you guys. I was calling for Quickly to start all year. I was calling for Quickly to start next year. So I understand what you guys are saying, but you can't say that he ruined him or he developed him. Like, you could argue he's shown the most growth as a player this year on this team.
I agree with that.
Transitioning to the point guard position, period.
Yeah,
like
he looked different. Because I was ready to fly him up out of here too, and I had to change off of him.
and even and so was I. I was calling for him too. Even when I called for him, like, it might be time to move on from quickly. I'm like, but I gotta admit, he ain't shooting well right now. But every other aspect of his game is better. His defense is better. His facilitating is better. Even his questionable decisions had cut down a little bit. You know what I mean? So as far as he definitely helped him grow and taught him. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing he didn't do was give him the keys. So I think if you're gonna argue that, you kind of got to be specific. You can't say he didn't develop him. Like, you can say he didn't start him, but he had ample opportunity. Especially,
I think that was the biggest mistake. If he would have started him, it would have allowed Alex Burks to be at his comfortable position, which is an off guard position, and let him facilitate as a secondary ball distributor. You know what I mean? And I think that's what Jay was. But Jay, go ahead, man.
But I also believe that you get more from quickly when he's not playing with RJ and Randall, right? You can maximize his talents because he has more freedom to score and shoot the ball. He doesn't have to be bogged down with trying to run the offense, trying to get the ball to Julius, get it to RJ, and do all of that type of stuff, at least right now in his career. So I think it could have benefited the Knicks more in that way, because Alec Burks, it didn't matter, right? He can come up, get the ball to those guys if he had to, if he found ways to get his shot, whatever, what have you. But I think maybe they felt like quickly was more valuable being able to just play his basketball game off the bench. It gave him the freedom, in my opinion, to develop more and grow more, because he didn't have the responsibility of giving the ball to somebody else. So with Alec Burks being in that unit, being able to, he had to give the ball to those guys. Emmanuel quickly can explore his basketball game. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of ways to develop a player, and I think that could have been one for Emmanuel quickly. Just let him go ahead and come off the bench, explore and learn his basketball game instead of being bogged down with having to give RJ and Julius the basketball. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think in due time, if quickly has what it is to be a starter, in due time, I think he'll be there. If not next year, you know what I'm saying? Because I think he did prove a lot. I feel like he learned a lot this year. The way that you started.
I tell you what, he made me a believer, because I even said it. I said, man, and the guy's starting to make me a believer, man. I'm seeing things that I wasn't seeing last year, and I'm seeing things I didn't see in the first half of the season.
Yeah,
he took a leap. He took a leap, and that's why. Go ahead, Boogie. I'm sorry, man. Go ahead, man.
Y'all good, but y'all good, but quickly is not done yet. And I'm telling you that quickly is not done. And what I mean by not done, I'm not saying that he has more work, to do for his game. What I'm saying is quickly got something to prove to the doubters. I'm telling y'all that. Whether you gonna believe it or not, by just listening to him doing yoga and all that, they doing yoga and all they working. Them guys is not taking this as an off season that people do. They taking it as an on season because they know it's work to be done. I'm telling you. He's really upset about them going and talking about all these other people.
But Brunson and all this.
All that there, man.
I'm sure he is. And I mean, I'm glad that he's upset about that. You know what I'm saying? And he wants to prove that he can be that dude. You know what I'm saying? And even if they do go get a Brunson or whoever, you know what I mean? He get in the camp. Now it's up to him to prove I'm better than this guy. I could do better than this guy out there. You know what I mean?
I tell you what, though. I love that combination with him and Obi, man. It looks like
another reason. That's another reason why he probably stayed on the bench, though.
We finally got something right. Obi, I'm excited to watch. I think that's my optimism this year. I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't optimistic with no playoff or none of that. I ain't even thinking about no playoff. My whole optimism this year is about watching them young fellas get better. And I think they're going to get way better being IQ and Obi, because Obi was showing stuff this year, man, that I didn't even know he had in him. But I'm seeing a lot of the reason why he got drafted, too, in the way he's starting to play. His confidence level is off the meter.
Hey,
One
not
thing
for
about
nothing.
Obi, I'm gonna say this thing about Obi real quick, and I'm gonna get out your way because you might have somebody else in the back or whatever. But
Nah, nobody here.
okay, to sit there to watch Obi score 20, 20, 19, 30 something, 40 something, and those going down the stretch, it was a beautiful thing for me to see because all I kept thinking is during the trade deadline, if we'd have traded that man would have done what he done in them 5 games somewhere else. Do you know where we would have been far as in this organization? We would have been crazy, outraged, mad.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the opportunity to see that he has a whole lot of potential that he can do. But the point is, we are in the second season of when Julius had a bad season and we drafted his replacement and we didn't move him. And now here we are all over again, like this was Julius' first season, a bad season, and here comes Obi. What are we gonna do? Don't hit me with the opportunity and the thoughts that they can play together, it can work. No, you got to get rid of it. You got to get rid of it. If you're not going to get rid of Julius, you got to get rid of Obi. You can't let that man just sit there on that bench and do that again, knowing the potential he has. You know what I'm saying? And great thing, at least he got his trade stock up. It's up.
Great point.
I think he earned. I think Tibbs already acknowledged that he has to figure it out because Obi's earned his time. So I think they could coexist. You know what I mean? I don't think the minutes are despaired the same moving forward. I think Julius's play combined with Obi's play is gonna allow Julius to take a seat a lot more often.
Yeah.
And Obi to stay out there a lot more often, especially based off the play. One quick thing, Sim. One thing that we also have to acknowledge: bad year for Randall, right? Bad start for Quickly. Bad start for Burks. Bad start for RJ.
Want no bad start for Burks. Burks cooked.
I'm sorry. Not Burks. RJ.
Okay.
But everybody who had a bad start,
right,
turned it around.
Yeah,
right.
Fournier had a bad start too.
Fournier had a bad start, except against except against his former team, Boston. you know, like it was a time where it was like, yo, can he play against anybody other than Boston?
Right.
You know what I mean? But
we might have knocked the Celtics off in the playoffs.
For real.
But part of that, I think, also you got to give those players credit, but Tibbs credit too, because RJ was in like a historic shooting slump. Granted, he's only been in the league 3 years, but he seems to do this every year. Start off slow, pick it up late, but he picked it up and turned it all the way around. From he was shooting like 15% from 3 at one point. Obi was shooting like 15% from 3 at one point. Turned it around. Like, so all that is growth and development to me.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't result in the end goal of even making the playoffs or anything like that, but I still see the development there. I still see the growth there. I still see the good in a bad season. You know what I mean? You gotta be able to point those things out and pick them out.
Yeah, I tell you, for me, man, like I said, the benefits right now, what I'm seeing, Sim, we all on this panel right now, we've been around a long time watching this Knicks thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the first time since Patrick Ewing, man, that we finally got some young talent that we can groom. Don't be enamored with the next shiny car that coming off the lot thinking you're going to bring them in here and they're going to play the way they play elsewhere here. I don't want us going out and getting another Chris Childs. I didn't seen that show before. I don't want us going out and getting another Charles Smith. I didn't seen that show before. You know what I mean? Stick with what's working right now. What's working right now? Playing them young guys. Find out who you're going to keep, because they got to make a decision on them picks and these players. So we got 9 young players on this roster. We got to figure out something.
Right. Yeah, we do. And those picks, right? People worry about those picks going away. They won't. A couple of things could happen. Either they draft them, either they use them in a trade, right, to bring in some other big player, or they draft them and they play for the G League, right? So in the next 2 years, you got 9 second-round draft picks. If you draft all of those 9 players, you don't have to pay them anything because they're not first-round picks, so their money's not guaranteed. They can all play in the G League and start to develop. Now you're talking about a true farm system, right?
Yeah.
Because they can all play in the G League. Or
give us some pinstripes and let them get like the Yankees.
right. Or you could move them on down the line. So now you say to you say to another team, I got this draft pick in 2023 that I'm not going to use. I'll trade you for the 2026 pick or the 2027 pick. So now you still got picks, but later on. You know what I'm saying? So now you can move them on down the line. So I don't think that they'll get wasted in that manner. So I'm not worried about those draft picks, and I think that they'll figure out a way to use them. And then I wanted to get back to the Obi thing. I love the way Obi played the last 5 games. I'm not basing my roster decisions on those last 5 games, though. You know what I'm saying? Because just knowing the situation of the season, I still think Obi has just some more seasoning to go, grooming and growing to go. You know what I'm saying? But I want to see him grow and put the pressure on Julius Randle to either play better or sit down.
I think the pressure is
I want to see that natural progression because I'm afraid that if you just put Obi out there, you say, okay, Randle's going, I'm going to throw him out there, that, some of the bad habits that he has right now doesn't fix first. You know what I mean? So I that's what I want to see with Obi. I want to see him continue to put that pressure on, you know what I mean? And then eventually you really force everybody to make a decision. We're either going to, we got to move on from Randle and let Obi get in there. You know what I mean? So I want to see that. I want to see it grow that way. Because right now, I don't think he's a better player than Julius Randle.
He ain't a better player than Randle, but you know what he's better at? He's better at playing team ball than Randle.
He is.
That's the difference between them.
He is, but I'm not sure that even that team ball impacts winning the same way. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure yet. It's hard to say because we haven't seen him in that situation, but I think he got some more seasoning to go. Go ahead, Tony.
I agree with that.
2 things. The better he gets, the more of a chance that they can play together too. So let's not discredit that. You know what I mean? Especially if he figures it out defensively. And one of the other things you left out as far as the options with these draft picks is draft and stash. You know what I mean? That's also an option where a guy may not be available to come to the United States for 2 years or a year. So, but you got the ability to draft them, keep him out there. You know what I mean? He wasn't going to be able to play immediately with a full roster or a bunch of picks. So you could have him overseas for a year or 2 and be fine.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you this, and me and Book talked about this before. I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. I really do feel this is going to be the New York Knicks year in the lottery. We are going to move up. We got a 23% chance.
This will be the year. This will be the year.
Exactly, because we didn't cheat the game. We didn't throw games. You know what I mean? We tried to win. So it's something to be said when you're doing things the right way. We got a 23% chance of moving up.
Yeah, Sim said that because it's a weak draft, though.
That's why I said that.
It would be the year.
Right. This would be the year.
I'm going to tell you what. We get up to there, I want Jaden Ivey.
No, number one? Number one pick?
That number one pick, I want Jaden Ivey. Period.
Okay. All right. Yeah, as soon as we get that lottery pick, we really gonna start diving in and breaking down the draft. We did some stuff, but we're really gonna start diving in. Next Tuesday, we're gonna do a live show for the lottery. You know what I mean? And then the combine starts next week. So this is perfect timing for me. I'll be back home off the road. You know what I'm saying? I'll be able to sit and watch the combine all day long and stream all day long if I want to. So, you know what I mean? I'll be following the combine pretty deep. Marion Davis, thank you for this $50 super chat. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate all super chats. I appreciate everybody for just being here. You know what I'm saying? But big shout out to you, man. I appreciate you. I remember Paul George said IQ was fearless. As a rookie, IQ is going to be special. Oh, he remembers he said he was fearless as a rookie. And then he's saying IQ was going to be special. We'll see. I mean, I'm hoping that IQ is going to be special, but he's got some work to do. The thing about IQ is he's got the right mindset.
Man, let me tell you about IQ. My son is a Kentucky fan, right? Big time Kentucky fan. Matter of fact, my son-in-law's sister played for the Wildcats, for the Kentucky Wildcats, and I'm gonna tell you, from everything I was told about that kid, he is as advertised. You know what I mean? My son told me flat out, he said, "Daddy," he said, if there was a tournament that year, we were not. He would have been a number one pick. He would have been a first round pick. He would not have slid that far to us. He would not have slid to us. He would have been in the top 10, top 15 if there was a tournament that year. Because remember that year he came out,
right?
They didn't have that tournament.
They didn't have a tournament. Yeah, right. They didn't have a tournament. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. But ladies and gentlemen, almost 12:30. I got to get up early, finish this conference. But this was a great show. You know what I'm saying? Some legendary people here on the channel. On the panel, Tony Crow, Ron, man, Jay Boogie. I mean, it really don't get too much better, ladies and gentlemen.
Sure don't.
And you got to go.
This was my pleasure, boy.
2 days. It's already another day. You had us yesterday and today.
Hey, Sim, I'm gonna have to call you like old time on that phone line, boy.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I can't get the phone line back up till I get back home. Well, not back up, but I can't get it up till I get back home. You know what I'm saying? But it was a pleasure having you, man. Hopefully you can come back more often. Jay Boogie, same thing. You know what I mean?
Man. I already got the link, man. I just, sometimes I like to just sit and watch y'all too, man. I'm a fan of y'all too. You know what I'm saying? We all fans of one another, but I like to sit and check out what somebody doing at the same time, and you know what I'm saying, when I can watch, guys doing their thing. But I want to appreciate what that piece you did for my sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Part of that was for me, and part of that was for my man Ron. Because, during that time in that situation, honestly, me and Ron was going back and forth with both our moms is going in and out of, the hospital. So, you know what I'm saying? Me and him just got that much closer, you know what I'm saying? So, appreciate that piece you did, how you formatted that, that together, you know what I'm saying? That was much love. But it don't stop there. Got some things in the hurry up coming. In the hurry up.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Ron?
Man, Boogie, you hit me with that one, man. I'm gonna tell you, and it's ironic that thing came out when it did, because moms would have been 68 yesterday. You know what I mean? Yesterday was her birthday. You know what I mean? So, and, me and you. I mean, that was a few days apart, man. And ain't no love like a mama's love, man. I tell anybody anytime. I ain't one of them dudes. I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm a mama's boy to the core, and I ain't care who know it. You heard me? You know what I mean? When I call the house, the first person I'm calling asking for where mama at. Daddy, I know he gonna be all right. Where mama at? Where Joyce at? You know what I mean? But yeah, man, it's Sim. This was a joy, man. It really feels like old time, man. And boy, I tell you, yeah, you came a long ways, man. And I'm proud of you. Tony Crow, man, Knicks and Bruises, your blackest time. You know how that thing go, man. And Boogie.
Man.
Hey, they couldn't have give you a better name, man, the closer. Ain't nobody coming behind you when you speak, man. When that passion level is on 100, man, they don't need to even speak behind Jay Boogie, man. You know what I mean?
Hey, we owe the fans something. If the Knicks ain't giving it to them, we better be giving it to them.
That's a fact.
Yeah, no doubt. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the time. We're going to get up out of here. All right. Remember, get them tickets to that draft party, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot coming for you. So just be ready, be aware. We out. Peace.
And BK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.